Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel and a new video. I'm so sorry I keep starting these in my van, but literally I got a call this morning saying we're delivering your car today. It was meant to be here yesterday, so I thought I'd better do an intro for this video because you wouldn't believe how awkward it is to try and talk about a car after you've got the car in the start of the video. So this car is a very, very interesting story. I know it seems a bit like we're the Audi centre at the moment, VAG, but it's just the way it happens all the time, isn't it? Before it was Fords, now it's VAG. So this car come from a friend of mine, and it's a really, really interesting story. So as soon as that lorry arrives, I'll get out, we'll have a look at it, and I'll explain more about the car. So it is here, guys, and there is no hiding the damage on this one. It is not round the other side. You can see it clearly here. So Audi TT Quattro TDI. This is actually a diesel car, and like I said, it come from a very good friend of mine, and it was actually his daughter's car, and I'll explain when we get round to the damage. He has given me both of these fog light covers because they actually both popped out, and also because I bought it from the owner, I've got a box inside full of bits and pieces that he's given me for it. But she absolutely loved the car, never had any problems with it. It has recently had a full cam belt service and water pump, and you can see how nice it was. So here we go, guys. A drunk driver or drug driver, I can't remember exactly what it was he said now, may have been both. She was actually round her friends and they heard a loud thud, and the guy had actually, he was driving his work van, had come down the road and actually smacked straight. You can see where he hit it. He's only just caught it. He's literally smacked it right there, and the impact is obviously on the bumper, and everything's pushed up, and it's dented in here as well, and a dent in the arch. And these are aluminium, or aluminum if you're American. It didn't just do that damage. You can see it has also pushed that wheel forward. You've got hardly any gap down here whatsoever. Look, I can't even get my finger in there, it's that tight. So we're going to need to investigate that. Hopefully that is independent and not a complete axle. It is independent, isn't it? So, and it's four-wheel drive. So is it four-wheel drive? It's not four-wheel drive, is it? I'm not even sure now, guys. I should have prepared myself a little bit better, shouldn't I? I thought it was a Quattro. It's got a Quattro badge on it. I'm sure it has. Yeah, it has. So it is four-wheel drive. I've just noticed there's a little dent in the tailgate boot lid there as well. It's pushed it straight into her friend's neighbour's car and actually done the bonnet there as well. Front bumper, although I think that front bumper will be okay. It's broken the grille, and you can see it's pushed the bonnet in, and it's broke the lugs on the headlight. Such a shame, but very, very repairable and desirable, this car. I know they are really desirable. It's going to have loads of little marks around it, but it's going to need a wash off anyway. So they did take it down to Copart. He messaged me and said, Rob, I can buy the car back. This is how much it's going to be. Would you like to buy it? So that's the parcel shelf. I've chucked that back in there. Would you like to buy it? It's done quite high mileage, but my daughter's had it a while. It's a nice spec car. And I said, yeah, we'd give you more than that for it. So we'll elaborate, obviously, in the numbers. But you can see there, 130,000. I know the stereos come on these. Let's turn that volume down. I knew that was going to happen. Sounds lovely. Got all the Apple CarPlay and all that sort of thing in it. It's just got everything. I've got the logbook, all the book pack, the spare key, everything we're going to need for this car, we've got. So, guys, what do you think? Put it in the comment section down below. Let's open that bonnet and have a look, see if there's any damage under there. But I have just noticed the actual bonnet pole's missing, so we'll have to try and find that first. There it is. It's actually snapped off, isn't it? It's quite a common fault on these, but I may be able to get that end out of there and actually put that on there and pull it open. Either that or get a pair of pliers, because I haven't even looked under the bonnet, and he never looked. He just said, Rob, here's the pictures of it, here's the damage, are you interested? So let's grab a pair of pliers and see if we can get that bonnet open. It actually looks like it's up, doesn't it? But I don't think it is. Yeah, let's get it open. I ended up having a bit of a palaver there and unbolting it all. And basically, it's the handle that's snapped. That spline does come out. Now, I rang my friend just before I did a cutting because I wanted to be sure whether the guy was drunk or... And I said, when he just called me back, what was he? He went, out of it. That was his answer to it. The guy was out of it. He shouldn't have been driving. And I also said, how'd you get the bonnet up? The handle snapped. He said, well, it wasn't when Copart collected it. So obviously one of the guys there's grabbed it a bit too hard. He did tell me this is actually the second replacement handle he's put on there. They're quite common to break. It's obviously very weak. But I managed to get it open. And just off the bat, it is good news there, because you can see that headlight has got 2 screw holes in it for a lug repair. So that lug will replace. And it doesn't look like there's actually any more damage on it. So we should be able to fix that headlight, but without actually removing the bumper and having a look, we're not going to know what else it does need. What I do know is, with that rubber on there, none of it looks pushed back, does it? He did say it just literally shunted forward and hit the neighbour's car. But then when I put that headlight where it should be, which is about... I'm not going to do it one-handed, am I? But basically, you get the headlight where it should be. You can see it's popped out there, and it's actually pushed in now. But it's very, very flimsy. So I guess best thing to do is get it in the yard, pull off that front bumper and actually pull off that rear bumper, sort out some suspension for it, and then have a look at the damages. I know this is going to be a little bit testing to do because we haven't got an aluminium spot welder, but I'm sure we'll get there with it. I'm just looking, I was thinking in my head then while I was speaking, that front wing, the bumper actually only comes to there, doesn't it? It does. Let's get it in the yard and get them stripped off so we can have a look what we're up against. What I will say though, guys, whether you're buying a car off your mate, your mum, your auntie, your sister, someone you do know or someone you don't know, just like I did with this car, check it out using Car Vertical. Here it is. Just like I always say, guys, it is vitally important to do a Car Vertical, regardless of where you're buying the vehicle from, because there's so many unscrupulous sellers out there and misinformation. So I used to see it quite a lot where people would advertise a salvage car as a category D when it was actually a category C. I'm not sure that happens so much now, but it does happen. So theft, that's okay. Accidents, this one is clearly highlighted. Like I say, I've bought this from a friend and it was his daughter's car. So 05 2012 registered. She didn't buy it new, so it's had a few previous owners there. Some number plate changes you would have seen there. Stolen vehicle check. This check was performed in the United Kingdom, Romania, Czech Republic, just to name a few. Mileage, we did say it has done a few miles, but is that high, guys? Put it in the comments. 130 for a 2012 diesel car. And there we go, damage detected. This happened right on Christmas, so 12th 2022. Category S write-off, can be repaired following structural damage. The repairs have been done. And would you say that one's structurally damaged due to the quarter panel? I would say yes. So there's the date there, 24th of the 12th 2022. So Christmas Eve, she got the bad news, it had been written off. Looking at that valuation, I actually believe we're going to do all right out of that one, because I think the car was very, very cheap. Scrolling a little bit further down on the check, you've got all your specs and equipment. And again, just down a little bit further, you've got your checklist and those 9 helpful tips and tricks for things to check when you're purchasing your car. I want to thank Car Vertical once again for the continued support on these must-do checks. Guys, to benefit from a 10% discount off your check, use the link in the description or the code SR10 from any browser. I know what a lot of you are going to say. Rob, why are you working on that out here on the floor? And the answer to that is, I haven't got a good enough excuse for you. I've only got to move one car and I could have got it in there, but it has been such a lovely day. I just thought I'm going to stay outside, and most of it, you know, I didn't have to actually put my knees on the floor. So I think the front bumper will go again. Definitely. It's got a little crack in it there, which I've got that new bit of kit, haven't I, with the staples, so I can repair that from the inside, no problem. You've got a little tiny bit of damage here, but there's nothing wrong with that bumper. That'll go back into shape. Of course, it is going to need a new grille surround, and I've just noticed in there it's going to need a grille as well. So at least the bumper's savable. None of the washer jets are broke, none of the fog lights are broke. Everything, none of the pipe work, everything's fine. This crash bar, bumper bar, has done exactly what it's supposed to do. It's gone back there and you can see it's just touched that there and broke that clip. So it's going to want a new one of those, and you can see it just clips in to the housing there. It's absolutely fine. Both of the front horns have got little bits missing off the end of them, but I didn't actually find them in the bottom there. But yeah, I guess they are broke, and they're quite rusty in there, so obviously a bad idea to put them where they are. Apart from that, everything looks okay on the front. Really, I think we don't get lucky, but we got lucky with parts, I suppose. So you can see that lug's broken off, that lug's broken off, and that one there's broken off. But they do a lug repair kit, and they're cheap. So the headlight is no problem. The headlight the other side, all unbolted. I think so far we're going to need a bumper bar, headlight lug repair kit, definitely, I'm sure I just said bumper bar, didn't I, a reinforcer, and without asking Chris, I don't know about the bonnet. I don't know. It looks like it's had some repairs before, because there's some cracks there in filler, and there's some cracks here. I think that is actually just paint, so maybe, possibly that can be repaired. I'm now going to move on and remove the back bumper. I don't think I'm going to need a lot of help removing that, am I? Certainly not this side anyway. Let's get that stripped off, and then we'll have a comprehensive list of everything we're going to need for this one. It's actually the next day, guys, and I've pulled it in the workshop. And there's only one reason I've pulled it in the workshop. He's back. Where you been, mate? Tell everyone.
We have been to Cornwall for a few days, Padstow.
Enjoy yourself?
Yeah, very nice, thank you.
People, when they're watching this video, they've literally watched... Oh, you was in the BMW video, so they've watched the Polo video, and no one's seen you for probably a week in the videos.
Yeah, we weren't away a week. We was only away for a few days.
Was you?
Just for Valentine's.
And you managed to pick up a little bit of a cold while you was there?
Yes.
A little bit of a bunged up nose.
Never mind.
And Chris come in, he said, Rob, why are you working? I did say this yesterday in the video. Rob, why are you working out in the yard on that car? We've got a ramp in there, so I have pulled it inside. And also Chris just mentioned, probably as you're going around doing the list, you can see what I've been doing, stripping everything off. Let's try and get that suspension sorted. So I've cracked all the wheel nuts off, going to get it up in the air, and hopefully we find the bent bit and we get that swapped out. But I'm quite, look at this, you know how cheap we paid for this. I think it's quite a nice car. Yeah. TDI diesel, got a lot going for it, got all the leather in it, got a nice MMI system. So yeah, right, let's crack on, get that wheel off, and then I can move on to the bumper. So very, very apparent instantly as soon as we remove the wheel. And you can see it's this arm here. I've probably got to torch a little bit too close to the camera there. But if we bend down here, guys, you can see that kink in it there. Very, very easy to replace. You've got a few bolts up here and 2 on the back of this and 1 roll bar link there. And that is it to get that off. And I can actually see that is the only thing that is bent. In fact, if you hammered that straight, it would move the wheel. You can see it's bent there, and it's actually bent there as well. So I'm going to continue on. I did just go round to the other side. Probably should have done it while it was on the floor. Remove the wheel and the arch liner, and that's just to get to the bolts to this bumper. So I'm going to come down, remove the rear lights, and remove this bumper right off. I've done all of the bolts underneath, so far so good, and actually a lot easier to work on the back of it in here on the ramp. Let's crack on and get it apart. As soon as I removed it, the wheel kind of sprung back on its own. All of the rear bumper removed, and that come off perfect. It is nice now that we can get inside there to tackle that bit of damage up there, and it is literally just this little piece of tin here that Chris is going to need to straighten up, because all inside the wheel arch there is absolutely perfect, no damage. It is just that piece there. So altogether, quite a fairly, it's nice to see. It is nice to see that all of that can be repaired. I think that is going to be the only tackling part. So that arm I've removed is down there. We've just rung up and ordered a new one of these, and you can, I mean, what I'll do is I'll whip round and get the other one now, and then we'll compare it, and then we'll see. There we have it, guys. Check that out. I wonder if I can get that to stand up. Just lean that up against my foot for a moment. I don't think this is going to work, is it? There we go. So, pretty bent, definitely. Let's get this new one fitted and then get that wheel on there nice and straight. You know what, guys, normally we would film everything, wouldn't we? I have just fitted that, and the reason I've just been catching up with Chris, having a bit of a chit chat. So it was those 4 bolts up under there, and it was the 3 bolts on well, 2 bolts and 1 drop link. I've got that on there. This is the big test now. We're going to put the wheel on, and then hopefully we've got our gap. Earlier on in the video, obviously I couldn't even get 1 finger in that gap, could I? So we'll get the wheel on there and have a look. We're hopeful that nothing else is bent, but if it is only going to be one of these arms. But the way that's on rubber bushes there, and it's on rubber bushes there, there's not really any way that can bend, if that makes sense. That took the impact. But let's get the wheel on there, have a look, and fingers crossed, we're good. Nailed that, guys, didn't we? Far from an exact science, but I can now get 3 fingers in there without any problems. I'm about 1/3 of the way up the seal there. Yes, guys, that was seal. And then same in there, about 1/3 up, 3 fingers in there. So yeah, you can see it's right now. Looks perfect. So luckily just one of those, didn't have to buy any more arms for it. And let's actually quickly show you what I've got on the list. I actually really enjoyed doing that, and of course it is nice to have Chris back to work with us.
Yeah, nice to be back.
So it's actually a nice little car, and really it's all sort of superficial apart from that bit on the quarter panel. It is all quite straightforward, nice stuff to do. So I've just written out a bit of a list, and Chris said, how comes you, well, you can take this with you and try and get it now? And I said, what I'm actually going to do, I don't normally run the list by you, and then if any of you guys notice anything else I'm missing, you can tell me in the comments. And also, where this is, it's going to go outside until we've got all the bits for it. So one of you guys might have some bits for it, or know someone that's got the bits for it. But don't send me the links for a front bumper on eBay and stuff like that, because of course I would have already looked. So headlight repair kits ×2, we can get them from TPS or the dealer. Front bumper, I'm going again with. So I want a front bumper grille and the black surround. There's a little plastic piece, just, let's move my hand, just here. Do you remember me pointing it out, guys? The little plastic bit is actually got a crack right through it. So I'm going to buy one of them, replace that. Offside, that's everything for the front. Possibly, I am going to try and get a bonnet for it. If I can't, then Chris is going to have a go at it. On the back, offside rear light, offside rear bumper brackets, rear bumper, and an offside rear splash. I think that is pretty much everything we're going to need for that car. It's all now straight. I'm sure it's going to drive in a straight line. I can concentrate and just get, oh sorry, the little brackets that go under the headlights, you can see just there, that one's actually broke, so I need to get one of them as well. But what do you think of the Audi TT? Like I said, it was really, really cheap, and of course in the numbers you'll see that. Drop your thoughts in your comments in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed the video, hit that thumbs up. If you didn't, hit the thumbs down. Like, subscribe and share. If you want to follow us on Instagram, it's Salvage Rebuilds. And of course, if you want to follow Chris on his little jollies, it's Salvage Rebuilds Chris. We'll see you very, very soon in the next one.